Well, welcome everybody, and it's always good to have a crowd. It goes all the way out the door and up the steps. I'd like to call the December 3rd, 2025 City Council meeting to order. If you are able, please rise and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, clerk, please call the roll.
Councilmember Petty,
Yes.
Mayor Nakstad,
Here.
Councilmember Daniel,
Here.
Councilmember Sonart,
Here.
Vice Mayor Askin,
Here.
Councilmember Grimmy,
Here.
Councilmember Casena,
Here.
Student Representative Bowling.
Here.
You have a quorum.
Okay, thank you. Council, before we get to the agenda and consent agenda approval, I would like to bring your attention to the laydown material we have here before us. We have an item E1 for resolution 2025-67 Wildwood Drive map brought to us by administration. Pleasure of council. Councilmember Sonart.
Right here. Oh, yes. Okay, I move to add item E1, resolution number 2025-67 to the Wildwood Drive map to the consent agenda.
I'd like a motion to approve the agenda with that.
And a motion to
additional-
approve the agenda with that addition.
Yeah. Is there a second?
I'll second. Unanimous.
And ask for unanimous.
Okay. Are there any revisions to the agenda and consent agenda by council? Saying none, clerk, would you please read the consent agenda items into the record?
Thank you, Mayor Nakstad. Approval of the regular meeting minutes of November 19th, 2025, brought to you by the city clerk. New business action approval, bills to be ratified, brought to you by the administration. Action approval, special use permit to America Red Cross for office space and parking at the Alaska Regional Fire Training Center, brought to you by the administration. Action approval, special use permit to Echo Lake Meats LLC for vending machines in the airport terminal building, brought to you by the administration. Action approval, special use permit to Aleutian Airways for warm storage, brought to you by the administration. Action approval, special use permit to Shillings, Alaska for snow storage, brought to you by the administration. And special use permit to Alaska Sure Seal Inc. for snow storage, brought to you by the administration. And introduction of ordinance number 3496, 2025, increasing estimated revenues and appropriations in the general fund to provide supplemental funding for utilities and building maintenance costs in excess of budgeted amounts for the Challenger Learning Center, brought to you by the administration. Public hearing scheduled for December 17th, 2025, and that is your consent agenda.
Okay, thank you, Madam Clerk. Are there any comments from the general public on any of the items the clerk just read into the record? Anybody? Okay, seeing none. Unanimous consent was requested. Are there any objections? Seeing and hearing no objections, the agenda and consent agenda are approved. Tonight, we've got a lot of talent in this room. We've got the girls varsity volleyball team and the Kenai marching band that we have a couple of proclamations for. And what I would like to do first is start with the girls varsity team. So it looks like the band is on the left side and the girls varsity is mostly on the right and not going out the door. So if the girls varsity team want to, if there's room to kind of come up forward here. We'll do this somewhat formally. Coaches too, please. There's one. Is that everybody that's here? Okay. So I'll proceed then. Whereas the girls' Division IIIA Alaska State Volleyball Championships were held at the Alaska Airlines Center in Anchorage on November 13th through 15th, 2025. And whereas the Kenai Cardinals girls varsity volleyball team won their third state championship in the last 4 years. And whereas under the direction of head coach Tracy Beck and assistant coaches Bruce King, Susan Darr, Camelia Gonzalez, and Danny Akana. And whereas 2025 3A State Championship awards were presented to Region MVP and Best Hitter Sophie Tapley, Best Server Gracie Avery, All Tournament Team Sophie Tapley, Gracie Avery, and Savannah Hirschberger. And whereas members of the volleyball team were Sophie Tapley, Brianna Hansen, Elsie Miller, Allie List, Sailor Tom Riddle, Gracie Every, Savannah Hirschberger, Katie Van Sky, Sage Wilson, Sayla Coots, Riley Williams, Aya Gavali, Macy Miller, and Mia Settlemeyer. Whereas we also recommend team manager Pepper Noel. Now, therefore, I, Henry H. Nackstead, Mayor of the City of Kenai, Alaska, on behalf of the City of Kenai, do recognize and commend the Kenai Central High School girls varsity volleyball team for their exemplary performance. Congratulations, girls. Thank you. What I'd like to do is put you together and we can get some photos, and perhaps council would like to come down too. In addition, I appreciate it if you guys could stay for a while for the next proclamation, and then we have another announcement to make right afterwards, and it would be good to have you folks here. Okay, moving along, we've got another proclamation in recognition of the Kenai Marching Band at the Bands of America Grand Championships. And I'd like to present this along with Councilmember Gremme. If you'd like to come up, Councilmember Gremme, she provided a lot of the information and encouragement to do this, so I'd kind of like to do a joint with you if it's okay. So if the band could come over and we'll do the same thing. Oh, yeah. Well, we want to get parents could take pictures.
Can everybody's mom see you?
Yeah, we'll wait.
Trust me.
Absolutely. I can talk slowly, too.
If anybody's in the lobby that wants to come in to be able to get a picture, please let them do that.
As a former trumpet player at KCHS, I appreciate you guys and all the bands. Okay. We'll go ahead and proceed. Whereas the Kenai Marching Band, proudly represented by the proudly represented the city of Kenai at the 2025 Bands of America Grand Championships held in Indianapolis, Indiana, and whereas the prestigious national event brought together 108 high school marching bands from across the United States for 3 days of rigorous and inspiring competition, and whereas the Kenai Marching Band distinguished itself not only through musical excellence and performance, but through exemplary character and spirit, and whereas the band was awarded the El Castronavo Esprit de Corps Award, presented to the ensemble that best embodies pride, spirit, enthusiasm, friendliness, camaraderie, and unity of purpose, qualities that reflect the highest ideals of the marching band community. And whereas the achievement is a testament to the dedication, teamwork, and leadership demonstrated by each member of the Kenai Marching Band under the direction of Christian Stefanos. And whereas the city of Kenai proudly recognizes the following student musicians for their commitment, discipline, and representation of our community on a national stage. They are Ava Anderson, Madeline Barrett Nash, Ben Brighton, Emma Castamore, Maddie Castamore, Aiden Cole, Zoe Cole, Bridger Koppel, Gavin Davis, Kylie Davis, Sean Davis, Lawrence Dean, Lily Gray, Natalie James, Madison Martin, Dylan Moss, Charlie Naranjo, Cecil Newcomb Hammer, Gavin Reel, Thomas Robinson, Kobe Rogers Whipple, Jacob Samararo, Keziah Simons, Andrew Stein, Zach Talbot, Lily Tellison, Shailing Tanner, Cage Van Fleet, and Raymond Wilkie. Now, therefore, I, Henry Nackstead, Mayor of the City of Kenai, Alaska, on behalf of the City of Kenai, do recognize and commend the Kenai Marching Band for their exemplary performance. Thank you very much. Okay, and band director? Okay, if we could kind of hold tight here for a minute, we got one more presentation, acknowledgement. Okay, at this time, I'd like to acknowledge our Chief Ross of the Police Department. He's been awarded a prestigious award here in the state of Alaska, and discuss that, I'd like the city manager, who basically is boss, to go ahead and tell us all about it.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor Nackstead. Thank you, everybody, for being here to recognize Chief. I'm just going to read a bit from the press release we put out yesterday on this subject. The City of Kenai is proud to announce that the Kenai Police Chief, David Ross, has been selected as the 2025 Police Chief of the Year by the Alaska Association of Chiefs of Police. Chief Ross has served the City of Kenai for more than 24 years, with the last 9 as our police chief, and this award recognizes his exceptional leadership, service to this community, and commitment to public safety. Throughout his tenure, Chief Ross has strengthened the Kenai Police Department through thoughtful succession planning, promotion of professional development, and the successful recruitment of high-quality officers in a very competitive hiring environment. His leadership has also extended statewide through his service on the Alaska Police Standards Council and the Kenai Peninsula Boroughs 911 Advisory Board, where he has also improved emergency communications and public safety standards. Chief Ross has built meaningful community relationships, including partnerships with the Kenaitze Indian Tribe, local schools, and numerous community organizations. Under his leadership, the Kenai Police Department has expanded its youth outreach programs, enhanced community engagement efforts, and supported major city initiatives focused on recruitment and retention of and employee well-being. Chief Ross service to Alaska, his agency, and the community of Kenai, combined with his remarkable leadership and accomplishments as a law enforcement administrator, make him an outstanding choice for this award. Chief, congratulations.
Chief Ross, if you could come to the front. Not everybody can see you. You can give a speech if you like.
It'll be a very short speech.
It usually is, but that's good.
Mayor, thank you very much for those who nominated me, and I would just say that, much like these people that are here behind you in teams, the only reason I'm here and the only reason there's any accolades is because I have a great team behind me, and it's a group effort at the police department, and I work with a lot of great people at the city, at City Hall, and at the police department. So thank you for the recognition, and
Okay, well, with that, I'd like to take a 5-minute break. Okay, we're back on the record. So that gets us to item B, scheduled administrative reports. Tonight, we have Ronnie McPherson, PE with HDR Alaska, Inc. He's here to talk to us about the bluff stabilization project. Ronnie, welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. So good evening. I'm Ronnie McPherson. I'm with HDR Engineering. I'm out of the Anchorage, Alaska office. I'm going to provide a project update for the Kenai Bluff Bank Stabilization. I was here a couple months ago giving an update. So going to have a couple of the some repeat information in there, but we got a couple of new faces, and I think it'll be good to go over some of those things again. So to start out, just general project information. So this project was a partnership between the City of Kenai and the Army Corps of Engineers. The contractor that was constructing the berm out there was Western Marine Construction. The Army Corps of Engineers was the entity in charge of construction management, and then HDR Engineering was the designer of record. So in summary, the construction is complete. The completion of that I'm marking as October 11th because that was the day that the last barge left into Cook Inlet. The length of the project is roughly 4,700 linear feet, starting at Cemetery Creek, heading upstream, protecting the bluff there. I'm providing some quantities here, breaking up into what the armor rock, which is the outer material of the berm that is facing the river and waves, and roughly 26,500 cubic yards was placed. Underneath that armor rock is a core type material and a bedding type material. In there, that was 36,000 cubic yards, so over 60,000 cubic yards of rock material was placed along that, almost a mile of bluff. So the structure itself was designed to reduce and eliminate erosion due to wave action, storm surge, riverine current, and ice coming from both Cook Inlet, sea ice, as well as river ice coming down the Kenai River. And so it's important to note that that is really intended to fix the toe of the bluff, and by fix I mean keep the toe of the bluff in one spot and not continue to be eroded and undermined, allowing more sloughing of the bluff to continue down. So there are many other factors that go into erosion of the bluff, such as wind, stormwater runoff, as well as groundwater runoff coming out midway. You can see that color change in there. And so the structure does not address those factors of erosion. So because of that, it's always been known that the bluff will continue to move and go back until it gets to what we call a quasi-equilibrium slope, and that would be indicated by essentially significant vegetation. So the next thing I have here is just kind of looking at the engineering section so you can see what those different materials look like. But I think the next photograph is probably a little more exciting, unless you're really into the engineering part of that part. But anyway, so this is a really cool photograph that was taken mid-construction that really indicates the type of materials that are placed within the structure itself. So again, on the outer part of the berm, that faces the storm surge, waves, and ice and all that is what we have the armor rock. It's a much larger stone that's out there. And then underneath that armor rock may be two different types of materials. It could be a core type rock material or a bedding rock material. And the bedding is essentially trying to create a foundation for the armor rock to distribute the load. Below the bedding rock is a geotextile composite. It includes both the fabric, it looks kind of like felt, if you will, but it's way stronger. And then a geotextile grid, which is like a pulled polypropylene type thing. And that is intended to give even more stability outward. So if you ever walked that area, it can be quite mucky. You might lose a boot. And so having that geogrid combined with the fabric provided a very good foundation for putting the rock, so the rock doesn't just go into the mud and it's gone forever type of thing. The core rock was a designed material that was intended to get the maximum yield out of the quarry that the rock was coming from. So we were looking to get this big armor rock that met a certain size. We wanted this bedding rock that met a certain size. And so if there was material that just wasn't quite one or the other, we called that core material. and we put that in between the bedding and the armor rock because we knew that would work quite well, wouldn't pipe through the armor, and that allows for the most of the material that's being blasted at the quarry to actually be used within the structure, which brings down the overall cost of the structure itself. So on top of the berm is a inspection path. This is an 8-foot wide path, and it is made of much smaller material that's placed on top of the armor and core rock there. And this is intended to be essentially a convenient access way to traverse the structure for some sort of vehicle like an ATV or a UTV to traverse and to inspect and observe the structure itself. At this time, there is no access, though, to the structure. So you could not, there's no trail or roadway that gets you to the top of the bluff. City staff currently are considering developing plans to develop access to this, but there's a preference to implement something like this after vegetation has taken hold. That way you kind of have an indication that the bluff above the inspection path is quite stable before you have a lot of traffic that's going on it. There, as we said, there will be some setback of the bluff, and so there's going to be continued sloughing that goes down. And it is possible that some of that sloughing material might make its way onto the path that would need to be cleared off. Okay, so I got a few photographs that kind of just show some of the images that have occurred since the last time I was here. This is just a particularly cool looking photograph in my mind. So the way that the contractor built the structure, it was all water-based construction. So they brought barges in with the material, so you can see the material barge in the background, and then they had a kind of a working barge that stayed the entire construction season long there that you can see the crane on it. And then they created temporary bridge abutments off of the structure itself, and that's what they're doing down here. You can see the excavator is building essentially an abutment there. And they built that up in such a way that they were able to place a custom-made single-span bridge that went from the abutment to the material barge. And material barges, of course, are coming around the clock, bringing material, it gets offloaded, it's placed, and then the empty barge takes off. The new barge comes right in, and they continue to place stone very quickly. The contractor, as you are aware, was able to do this in a single construction season, which was remarkably fast. It was not thought that was possible, but the way that they did this particular construction means and methods made it a possibility to do such a thing. So anyways, this is what they're doing. This is they had to do it twice because you kind of think of the structure in two sections, the section between Cemetery Creek and Ryan's Creek, and then Ryan's Creek upstream. And so this is the bridge abutment area for the upstream portion of the structure. So this is just kind of an image. This is during one of the final walkthroughs, inspection by the Corps. That's some of the Corps staff working there, walking it. And this is what the final product looked like on the downstream of Ryan's Creek section. So you can see the armor rock and the slope portion, the toe, and then the excavated area put on top of the toe, and then people are walking along the inspection path there. This is an image at Ryan's Creek itself, and so you can see that inspection path on top of the berm coming in, and then there's this kind of much lighter duty revetment, if you will, pushed against the bluff there. And then there's a very similar type structure on the other side, and that is the area currently being considered, if you were to put an access path, would be coming down Ryan's Creek and maybe in connecting these two areas so that you could go one way or the other way with the UTV. That's the current idea there. This is working on the terminal on the right next to Ryan's Creek on the upstream side, getting the inspection path material put into place. And then here's the upstream side of Ryan's Creek. This is an area that was not completed the last time I was presenting on the construction update, but that here it is complete, heading all the way up to the cannery. And then this is the same structure, but looking down the other direction. You can kind of see this is coming to the end right here. So that bridge abutment, you can tell, is actually getting removed and taken apart. And so the material that was used within the bridge abutment itself was actually used as part of the structure itself. So pretty ingenious way of doing it. And then, of course, it was all taken out, and then all you have left is the structure itself. And so this is that October 11th day. This is your final barge that hung out in the Kenai River all summer long, heading back to Western Marine's next project, I assume. Wanted to kind of round out this presentation talking about structure performance. It's kind of a big question. Now that this is here, what are we expecting to see? And so one of the tasks that HDR was provided was to say, what do we think that the top of bluff will actually retreat? And this is a very, very challenging question to answer. And I think the best way to answer it is just to provide a very, very transparent approach. Nothing black box. This is just, here's a couple of ways of figuring it out. Okay, so here's my step 1 through 5. Okay, so basically the first way we did this was to review adjacent slopes of the bluff itself. So if you look one way or the other, you can see that the bluff itself is somewhat vegetated. And that indicates to us that that's a fairly stable location of the bluff. And that's what we think that the bluff will probably look like moving forward now that the toe has been fixed. We also want to note step 2 there is that during the feasibility study by the Army Corps of Engineers, they'd actually done a geotechnical analysis on what they thought a stable geotechnical slope would be. So we want to basically bring all data points forward for this type of analysis. Okay, so our step 3 is to take those data points, essentially the adjacent or our reference slopes, as well as what the Army Corps of Engineers had done in their analysis, and then provide a range of simplified slopes to use for this analysis. And then with those simplified slopes, we just simply just take them and put them right at the base of the structure and go straight up. And we just apply them where the structure happens to be. And then you project to the top of the bluff where that would be. It's very, very straightforward, hopefully. If you have questions about that, well, let me stop now and I'll talk about it, but hopefully that would make a lot of sense for everybody. I see a lot of nods. Okay, great. So our reference slopes, this is where we ended up taking them. So you can see this aerial image here. There's a bit of a circle going on. And you can see a couple of white lines there, 1, 2, and 3. 1 and 2 are actually outside of the project area, but have quite a bit of vegetation going on. And area number 3, that actually is within the project site itself, but prior to the project, I assume multiple years prior to the project, some bricks, other types of hard substrate had been placed within the beach area, maybe as an attempt to create some stability there, but it actually ended up being quite a nice test pilot project, if you will. And what has occurred since then is that a lot of vegetation has actually developed on that section of the bluff. In fact, there's multiple trees that have actually started to take root there and are indication of a stable slope. So I think 3 personally is probably one of the best indications of what the slope will probably end up looking like now that the berm structure is in place. But anyway, 1 is just a very, very, very obvious stable slope. 2 is another area that we think just looks good. So we're just taking a couple of different slices there. So what do those slopes look like? This is a profile view of them. And so our y-axis is elevation, so just straight up and down. This is if you were to take a complete cut through the bluff itself. The x-axis is distance out from the top of the bluff. So hopefully that makes sense visually in your head, that this is just essentially if you were to take a slice out of the bluff in those stable areas, this is what they look like. And then if you simplify just a single straight line, where you average out what those bluff transects look like, they come out to be a 3 to 1, 1.7 to 1, 2.3 to 1 type simplified slopes. All right, so this is how we applied them to the base of the bluff. So again, we essentially said where the structure is now, we're going to put these simplified slopes and bring them and project them to the top of the bluff based on the latest and greatest survey that we happen to have. And so we have 4 different lines going on here, okay? So we see at the top here, potential range, Army Corps of Engineers, geotechnical analysis. Their analysis stated that they felt that the stable slope would be 35 to 40 degrees. And so that's this wedge that you can see is 35 to 40 degrees. Very, very, it's almost the same as the slope itself. It does not move very far back. If you take the 1.7 to 1, the steepest slope that we saw with the adjacent profiles, that is this kind of longer dashed green line. And then if you take the most extreme thing that we saw, the most stable, very flat looking adjacent slope, that gives you this shallow slope, and it goes out there, and that's that purple dashed line. So now we basically have 4 data points to be looking at here. As you can imagine, when we start to project this purple line, you're going to see a lot of infrastructure that's affected. So I wanted to say that this is providing a big range of what's going on. And again, I would, based on what I'm looking at there, I would think that, somewhere around that dashed green line, the steeper slope is probably a little bit more of what I would expect to see just based on that pilot project, if you will. Okay, so with that, this is what the results look like. So the blue and the pink line is essentially that Army Corps of Engineers geotechnical analysis that provides that little range there that, is the closer to the bluff edge. The yellow and the purple line is using the steeper slope from the adjacent side, and then the most shallow, very, very stable looking slope that we saw adjacent to it on the purple side. So again, for data points, you can see that 3 of those data points are quite close together. So that probably indicates that that's more likely where you're going to be seeing something happen. Now with that, I will say that I like to think of erosion in 2 different ways, chronic and episodic. And so chronic would be something where, it's just slowly eating away at a time. Episodic would be some sort of erosion due to an episode, right? So a large storm event or something like that. By having the berm in place, the idea is that episodic erosion, something really big, storm surge, wave action coming in, and just taking out huge parts of the bluff, we hope is basically neutralized from the adding of the structure. The wind erosion and stormwater runoff and groundwater, I would place that more in that chronic erosion and until it gets to that quasi-equilibrium slope and vegetation starts to form, and then all of a sudden it's just a stable thing. So I guess the reason I'm getting at that is that if you are very, very alarmed by the purple line, I would say that you would expect to see chronic erosion happening. And so if the purple line is indeed the accurate one, which I don't think is the case, there would be time to think about this and mitigate the type of solution you want to do there, whether it's trying to force vegetation or any other type of structural modification to the bluff. So I have 5 of these slides that run through the project itself, and I'll just kind of hit on those and just sit there for a couple of seconds on each one so you can kind of look at the infrastructure that you're aware of. Okay, heading up into Ryan's Creek on the far right of this particular graphic. Okay, now we're crossing Ryan's Creek here, the senior center. And that is the final heading to the end of the project at that point. So that concludes the project update, and I would definitely open it up to questions and things I didn't hit on that you're hoping I was going to hit on.
Any questions? I'm curious on the 3 likelihood, so it's in there somewhere. Do we have, it's actually a 2-part question, city utilities within that zone, between the blue and the yellow?
My understanding is that the utilities in those areas there are utilities, but I don't think they are active. Because I know there were some that have been removed and things like that over time.
Well, I just didn't know if there was a couple of places, I think maybe Kenai Joe's looked like it might be, kind of crossing a street there. So it'd be a city road or something like that. In those locations, would you or might you propose some kind of a treatment over the bluff that would actually stabilize it at a little higher angle in the sandy zone there that, so we don't have to wait for it to go back and then perhaps it'll stay? Your mic went off. It does that.
Thank you. Yeah. So, I think in any case like that, especially with these shorter ones, I think, just trying to get any sort of vegetation to go is the best thing you could possibly do without doing some sort of major, modification to the bluff at that point, because this isn't a long distance for that to go. I mean, we're talking, this is 5-10 feet type of thing. So, any way we can get natural vegetation to grow, seeding, whatever, I think that'd be your best bet for something like that.
Councilmember Sonart.
Thank you, Mayor Naxted. So what kind of timeline, in your opinion, are we looking at? 2 years, 4 years, 5 years?
Yeah, that's hard. Yeah, it's really hard to tell. I think we're going to start to see some really cool stuff coming within 1 to 2 years, honestly. So even during the construction of the project, there was new vegetation that was growing on the bluff itself. And that was a great sign that things are going well, because I'm sure that new vegetation grows every year. But in this case, the toe is now stabilized, undermining is not going to happen, and that vegetation isn't going to be lost to just straight sloughing. And so you have vegetation going on now, and then come spring, boom, the Alaska stuff starts happening like crazy, as always. And I think that we're going to start to see some really neat stuff. And that, like I said, the vegetation part of it, I think, is going to be the best indicator of a stabilized slope. And so we'll have providing what's called an O&M manual. It sounds kind of odd for a rock project, but as part of that O&M manual, there will be some kind of recommendations for monitoring the structure over time. And I think in a situation like this, monitoring, not only just looking at, is the structure looking good, is rocks in place, but I think also having a really good understanding of your bluff position from a survey standpoint, as well as visual of your bluff from a vegetation standpoint, like some sort of drone imagery or something like that, and cataloging that year after year, I think will be one of the best things you can do to really start to measure and see success, or figure out if you need to do something different.
Councilmember Daniel.
Thank you, Mayor Naxted. So if worse came to worse, would backfilling, bringing more material be a mitigation strategy, or not recommended, would you say?
I would, it's a little outside my expertise, because I'm definitely on the coastal engineering side of things, on the geotechnical side of things. But I would probably say that's probably not the best plan to introduce a new material on the front of that. And then I would think that high vibration machines on top of a bluff could end up causing a lot more problems than you had before it was going on there. That'd be, if you're having these big heavy equipment and vibrations coming in, dumping off, I could see a lot of issues there. So, yeah.
So as a follow-up, it sounds like vegetation, trying to get that to grow is the best course of action.
Yeah, and of course, the best practices that go with creating vegetation, right? So like mats that go into place that you see on the side of highways to really force vegetation to occur after a cut's been in place. I think those type of best practices is probably something that would be the most logical in a situation like this.
Gotcha. And then one more, is it make sense for us to proactively try to do that, or should we or is it better to wait and see where we fall? What would be the recommendation there?
Well, I mean, I think if you've got the means to introduce natural Alaska, like what you would think is going to occur there, not something that doesn't occur in Alaska or in this area, as far as seeding and that kind of thing, I mean, heck yeah, I would be all over that. As long as you're not, again, putting heavy machinery out on the edge and that kind of thing, but any way that you could spread seed that is natural to your habitat, I think, yeah, I'd be all for that kind of thing.
Councilmember Petty.
Yes, I want to thank you for your presentation. I would be interested in being able to linger longer on your slides. Will those be available for the council or the public, please?
It's my understanding that they are available to the council and will be available to the public as well. And there is also these slides come from a report that was provided to the city that discussed this approach and this analysis, so that this data and information is available as well.
Couple of questions, getting back down to the structure itself. And I think it was October, we had extreme tide with big southwest winds. Mm-hmm. Was there any damage or any stress to the structure down there that you're aware of?
I didn't get any reports of any damage to the structure or stress. The only thing that there was some interim construction things as far as having the heavy equipment that did a little bit of bulging of the structure along the surface that they did a little fixing up on. But I think that was mostly due to just trying to get the structure into place with the armor all together to create a solid structure. So I don't think there was any damage that I'm aware of.
Yeah, next question people ask me is ice abrasion or the ice actually picking out the rocks, lifting out. Was that considered? That was considered in the design, and I just thought you might want to discuss that.
Absolutely, yeah. So ice was one of the factors that was considered in the design. In fact, the armor rock on the most downstream portion is actually sized to ice and not to waves. Ice was the bigger component there, and so we had to size up for ice in that case. But we did essentially an ice analysis for both sea ice and river ice using a freezing day analysis that basically provides us an indication of how thick ice can get with a statistical measure and an annual exceedance probability. A little engineering work there, but at any rate, the point being is that we have a good idea of how thick ice can get with both in Cook Inlet as well as coming down the Kenai River, and then we use that thickness to determine the size of armor rock that's needed to be stable against that size of ice. And then that's one thing that we look at. And of course, we look at how big you need it for waves and how much you need it for rivering current. And then you figure out, is waves my controlling factor? Is ice my controlling factor? Is river my controlling factor? River current my controlling factor? And like I said, the downstream portion, ice actually was the controlling factor, and that's what created that need for that large of armor rock, which we called armor rock A. And then waves were the controlling factor on more of the upstream side. And so that's what provided us the indication of the armor rock B for that. So yeah, I would say ice is definitely part of it. And then you did also mention the other type of ice failure that can occur, which is called ice plucking. Very unique, I would say, to Cook Inlet due to its large tides. So one of the best ways that you can mitigate against ice plucking is by essentially just the slope of the structure. And so the DOT did some, just through their experience working on turning an arm, they determined that having essentially a 1.5 to 1 to 2 to 1 slope provided some of the best slopes that you could have on a revetment to mitigate against ice plucking. And this is put at a 2 to 1 slope based on that experience from the DOT.
Any further questions? You may not be coming back, so hopefully if we got questions.
Happy to come back.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks for the time. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, and great design, and everybody lucked out with a good contractor as well.
Agreed.
We're very pleased.
Yes, good looking structure. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, that brings us down to scheduled public comments, and we have Brandy Bell with the Kenaitze Indian Tribe, Transportation Manager. I saw some of your buses out today. Welcome.
Thank you all for having me today. So I've got some slides to move through. As you may or may not have heard, we launched our bus service yesterday. So our buses are running from Nikiski to Big John's, heading out towards Sterling, all the way from North Kenai Community Clubhouse, the old fire station out there, to Big John's. Here's what our buses look like. We have 4 of these Gillig buses. They're 37 feet long. They hold 34 seated passengers and up to 52 people standing and seated. They have ramps for people to be able to walk or roll on, ADA positioning, all of that. So we received 2 grants from the Federal Transit Administration to operate 2 bus routes, within the Central Peninsula. We launched, like I said, with just the 1 route that's combined, spanning from Nikiski to Sterling, and we travel the Kenai Spur Highway, K Beach Road, and Sterling Highway. In early 2026, we will be expanding to 2 routes. The Route 1 will be our express route, getting people long distances in a shorter amount of time, fewer stops. So that will be from Nikiski to Big Johns and Sterling. And then the second route will be more of those shorter, more stops along the distance from Kenai to Soldotna via K-Beach. Here is our list of our bus stops. As I mentioned, the North Kenai Community Club, North Peninsula Recreation Center, our Denina Wellness Center here in Old Town, our Transit Center, which is the old Kendall Ford building, KB Drive and Byway, that's kind of behind Save You More there on K-Beach, Alaska Christian College down their road on Royal Place, Community College Road, kind of right across the street, or right across the road from the food bank there, near the four-wheeler trail, Central Peninsula Hospital, the Soldotna Library, and as I mentioned, Big Johns and Sterling. So each bus, well, each direction, we have 4 runs. So from Sterling to Nikiski, we start at our transit center, we go to DWC, the North Peninsula Recreation Center, out to the North Kenai Community Club, and then the Community Club is our turnaround point, and we come back towards Sterling. And it's just going back, repeating the process, making the stops. We launched with our bus fares. So firstly, you can buy the monthly passes at our Cottonu Transit Area Center, Monday through Friday from 8 to 4. And single fares and day passes can be purchased on the bus at the time of the ride. And we will have an online payment portal coming to us soon, as well as a rider app called Passio. So our fares, for a full fare, it's a single ride is $5. So if you get on in Nikiski and go all the way to Big Johns, that's a $5 ride. A day pass, that's unlimited rides throughout the entire day for $10. A monthly pass, those are unlimited rides throughout the month, $100. Children ages 0 to 4, they ride for free. And we do have half-price fares available for youth ages 5 to 17, Medicare card holders, veterans, and elders ages 55 and older. They're all eligible for half-price fares. And we also have a paratransit, a complimentary service to go along with this. So if you are not able to get to a bus stop and you live within 3/4 of a mile of that bus stop as the crow flies, we'll dispatch our shuttle bus that's ADA and come and pick you up and take you where you need to go. So here's some pictures from our photo shoot when we were creating our commercial. We have our driver, Jenica, our transit supervisor, Jenica, up there. Several community members that you probably recognize, some Kenaitze tribal members riding along as well. And just to give a feel of, riding the bus and then what can happen at the end of that ride. So as I said, our lobby hours, Monday through Friday, 8:30 to, actually 4 p.m., I apologize. And then our pass sales close at 4. Bus service hours are 6:30 a.m. to 8 p.m. Monday through Friday. So we are hoping to capture people being able to go to work, come home from work, get all of their shopping and errands done in a day. And that's that. And I do have a little our commercial to share with you. So it is important to say that this service is open to the entire community, not just Alaska Natives or American Indians or recipients of Kenaitze services. This is a community and public service. And we would love to know how to start the conversation to possibly add more bus stops here in the Kenai area on city side streets and what that might look like and what process that might be. We launched yesterday, and I would say we probably got about 40 phone calls from the community suggesting bus stops. So, so we're already looking to expand on what we have, what we're offering. And with we have funding for the two routes, and will be sustainable through further formula funding from FTA, so the service won't go away after those initial grants end. Yeah. Does anybody have any questions? Can I share more?
Councilmember Eddy.
Yes, thank you for this wonderful benefit to our whole community. Also, do you see the opportunity to stop at large retail establishments, perhaps like our friends over at Fred Meyer's or our friends at Walmart?
Absolutely. We didn't engage Walmart initially just because our transit center is right next door to Walmart. And our goal in launching was getting people the distance at a really affordable rate, and then those final destination rides fulfilled by carts and the local cab companies. We did engage with Fred Meyer. Unfortunately, they declined partnering with us on having a bus stop there. So we do encourage our community to let them know that that is a place that they'd like to go. Absolutely. And I believe that Walmart also offers grants to build a bus shelter at their stores. So that's definitely something we're looking into here in the near future.
Go ahead, Councilmember Sonart.
Thank you, Mayor Naxted. Do you have an idea of how many passengers you transported on the very first day?
We had 3.
Okay.
we
It's a
had
start.
3, but to be fair, we had more riders today. And as people are knowing where the bus stop is, and so that was a lot of conversations over the phone the last 2 days of where exactly to find them. We're going to be putting up pictures on Facebook and our website of where exactly those bus stops land instead of just, on the corner of Byway and KB Drive. Yeah. And what's really neat about our Passio app that's coming up is the rider can plan their ride for the entire day. They can click on, I'm going to take the bus from North Peninsula Recreation Center, and I'm going to get off at CPH, and then I'm going to take a ride over to Save You More and get on the bus and then go back home. And they'll be pinged on their phone when the bus is getting near, or to remind them, hey, your bus is coming. And you can see in real time when that bus is arriving. So it will save on people having to walk or be out in the cold. Or try to be really cognizant of, folks footing it around here.
Thank you. You said something about having the discussion or conversation with the city of Kenai, and of course, that would be with our city manager.
Wonderful.
And he's here, works here. So, but I was wondering if, looking at the city of Kenai, starting that conversation, where would you like to also go that maybe you can't, or what discussion do we need to have?
Well, we've identified early on that, the Kenai Center Mall, where Job Center is, and during our community survey, was the top place besides the hospital that people wanted a bus stop. We haven't been able to make an agreement with the owners of that building and that land to have a bus stop there. So we were looking outside of that on the roadway of Main Street, and around Main Street and Coho, basically between probably First and Coho, somewhere in that stretch along the green strip here in Kenai. We kind of identified as perhaps that's a really good spot. And then the services right around here, the post office, the library, the courthouse, law offices, physical therapies, and Safeway right in here. So like Trading Bay, we were looking at that as a good possibility. We are very aware of not impeding traffic flow, safety for the passengers, and we want to be good stewards, of what service we're providing and have it make sense for everybody. And essentially with the borough, we were given permission to stop on Community College Road, KB Drive, and in the summertime, we'll be stopping at Home Run Avenue next to the Field House and Sports Center. It's not very accessible here in the wintertime. So that was permission granted by them. We have memorandums of agreement with all of the other businesses that we do stop at. So I can send a copy of what that looks like and maybe have some conversations, but it will definitely benefit the entire community. It doesn't seem like it would be too bad for somebody to walk from maybe Denina Wellness Center over to the job center. But as we all know, we just had a terrible, tragic death happen at that intersection. And so we want to get people as close to the important services as possible.
Councilmember Casena.
Thank you. This might seem like a silly question, given that this is a discussion about bus stops, but is there parking at some of these locations for, let's say, folks who maybe wanted to park at the wellness center or the transit center and then take the bus to Soldotna for the day and then come back to their car later?
Yes, that is definitely possible. Well, at our transit center, for sure, we have parking there. CPH, the roadside stops, perhaps not so much. You may be utilizing Save You More parking lot. I would probably discourage from the college parking lot. It's Alaska Christian College, so we want to be really respectful of their limited spaces there. But we have had that conversation with several of the businesses, and they look at it as we're dropping people off, they're patronizing those businesses, they see it as a win. So to definitely say you can park here and park there, that's probably something that I could get up on the website, further information, so great suggestion.
Thank you.
Councilmember Daniel.
Thank you, Mayor Naxted. So I see on here you have the paratransit option where somebody maybe can't get to the stop. Have you talked to any of the other entities like CARTS perhaps and maybe partnership with some of those farther reaching areas than to centralize in those stops?
Well, we do have the infrastructure to provide those trips. We have several shuttle buses that have ADA capacity that we plan to fulfill those rides with. And certainly so, we've just with our door-to-door on-demand response service that we provide to Knightsies Unina, that's those that come to us for service, we've often referred them out to CARTS and to the cabs when we're unable to help. So yes, and future talks, absolutely. I know that 907 Navigation is an app that's being worked on by, I believe it's 100% Community, that will list all of the transportation options here on the peninsula and help residents and newcomers to the area learn how to use like our transit systems.
I am curious too, you mentioned like Fred Meyer wasn't interested in having you have a bus stop there. You don't have to talk about why Fred Meyer's didn't, but why would anybody not want to have a bus stop near their business? But what's the catch there?
Well, I think that with our smaller businesses, certainly it's a worry of liability. Somebody having a slip, trip, or fall or accident in their parking lot, and who's liable for that. And our MOAs really cover those bases for each business. With the borough, because they maintain, basically all we ask for is a place to place our sign and work with each entity kind of individually on what it looks like for sanding and snow plowing and making sure that the stop remains debris free. And so we've kind of got several different formats of that where we partner with somebody to share the cost or to share the responsibility, and some businesses full on take that responsibility of sanding and snow plowing. So with the smaller businesses, that's certainly what it was. And with Fred Meyer, that was a little bit of a shock to us, just because Bumps goes there, Carts goes there. We drop in our door-to-door response in our shuttle buses, we drop clients there for shopping, just pulling up to the stop. But I think maybe us asking for a dedicated space for people to go out and stand and wait for the bus maybe was their hesitation.
One more question. You gave this presentation 2 weeks ago at the chamber, and I asked you later about the airport, and you had some concerns about access to our airport with these larger buses. It seems like it's a pretty wide road going in there, but.
Well, it's the turning radius coming around to the arrivals and then the departures. So if there's other vehicles staged there, it creates just an unsafe situation. Like, obviously, our vehicle would stop if a vehicle is in the way, but we're absolutely open to that. And if we can find a way, a clear pathway through there where we're not causing people to not be able to unload their own luggage or load up into cars waiting by, we're more than willing to talk about that.
Madam Clerk, is there anybody online with any questions? I can't see if their hands are up.
There are no hands raised online.
Any other follow-up questions? Councilmember, go ahead.
Thank you. You mentioned funding. So I'm understanding it, you got a grant for the first 2 routes and there's continued funding afterwards, or how does that work?
We receive formula funding from the Federal Transit Administration, and that's based on our rural status, how many rides we provide in a single year, and how many miles we go. It's a 3-tier formula funding. And I've been with the tribe for 10.5 years and running this program for 9. So we've spent a long time building up those stats, essentially, to get a good amount of funding coming to us annually to help support this endeavor. Yeah. And of course, all of the funds that all of the passes that we do sell, that goes right back into operations.
Councilmember Grimmy.
I just wanted to say I'm very excited to see this come to fruition. I think that we have had Carts, we have had Alaska Cab, Harry's Cab, a number of different cab companies over the years. But access to an actual public transit system is something that's been lacking in this community for a long time and has really made it difficult for people from all different parts of our community to access services, healthcare, whatever it is that they need to get on with their lives in an affordable and accessible way. And I appreciate how well thought out and intentional these stops are, and the affordability is actually what strikes me the most. $5 to get from Nikiski to Sterling is affordable for most people, and I think it's going to be a huge game changer, and I'm very appreciative of the work that you've done to bring this to our community.
I appreciate that very much. And on a personal note, I'm a Nikiski kid, so I'm growing up out there and being the youngest of my class and not having a car license and bumming rides and miss out on all kinds of basketball games and football games and other community things, job opportunities. So we really stress that it's not the ride, it's what happens at the end of the ride. It's the connection to those much needed services, to be able to just get some groceries, to see your friends, have some community. I think especially after COVID, we all have just felt that how isolating those years were. And I ran the Elders Center for the Kenaitze as well. up until recently when the position split. But we saw so many people just decline during those times. And public transit, that's, I hope that it brings people back together.
I noticed on one of your photos that you had bike racks on at least the front of the bus. So kids, well, whoever could actually bicycle to wherever that stop is if they're anywhere near.
Absolutely. We have the bike racks on the front fit 3 fat tire bikes or 4 regular tire bikes. So, yeah, it's good ratio, I think.
Councilmember Grammy?
I just wanted to say, when you make your T-shirts with "It's not the ride, it's what happens at the end of the ride," I'd like to make sure I get one, because I think that is gold.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Be sure to do that for you.
Okay, any further questions? Appreciate you coming, and we wish you the best, and I think that it's long overdue, and I think you've got a lot of growing to do. You need more buses, probably more stops, and it's gonna be a thing.
Absolutely. I really appreciate you all letting me come and present this today. Appreciate your support.
Thank you, have a nice night. That brings us down to item D, unscheduled public comments. Are there any members from the general public that would like to speak to any item not appearing on the agenda? Anyone? No one online? That brings us to public hearings. The first public hearing before us tonight is Resolution 2025-67, authorizing the purchase of property interests from the Kenai Native Association for the Wildwood Drive Rehabilitation Project, and determining that the public interest will not be served by an appraisal brought to us by administration. Councilmember Sonart.
I move to adopt resolution number 2025-67.
Second, unanimous consent.
Okay, moved and seconded. Is there anybody from the general public that would like to speak to Resolution 2025-67? Okay, seeing no one, it brings it back to council. City Manager Eubank, you want to kind of explain how we got here, what we're doing, and where we're going to go from here?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of council. As far as how we got here, so Wildwood Drive has probably long been one of the roads in the city needing some maintenance. It's I would estimate the asphalt on that's probably in the 50-year range, and we put a significant amount of wrap and mix on it every year, trying to just keep it to be passable. I think a lot of the struggle along the way is twofold. One, it's pretty unique, but the city of Kenai does not actually own the right-of-way under that road. That right-of-way was deeded to the Kenai Native Association as part of their allotment under, I believe, under ANCSA. So this was part of the land entitlement that they received. To my knowledge, we've always, since the military left, the city of Kenai has always maintained that road. We've always plowed it, we've always graded it, we've always fixed the potholes the best we can. So there's been a couple of hurdles along the way in dealing with this. The other issue I think we've had as an administration is to look at the road. It does serve citizens of the city. However, we always felt that it significantly serves the Wildwood Correctional Facility, which is a state facility serving all of Alaska. The facility itself is outside the city of Kenai, while the road is inside the city of Kenai that goes to it. A few years back, we were successful in getting traffic counters placed that actually then we had hard disk. So DOT placed traffic counters for us. That data showed that 80% of the traffic traversing down Wildwood Drive was related to the prison. So armed with that information, Mayor Gabriel, actually, the former mayor, we went to Juneau. We requested, through the local office here in Jill, we asked to get an audience with the governor. Unfortunately, we weren't able to, but he did get us some time with Commissioner Anderson of DOT, and Andy Mills is the legislative liaison with DOT. We were able to sit down with the commissioner and talk about the project. And since that meeting, we've been working collaboratively with DOT. I think we, not to overstretch it, but I think the state has realized or acknowledged that, how much of the traffic is on that is related to the prison. And DOT's been collaboratively working with us. The current status is we have provided them the design we had, which we had a full design shovel-ready project. And we've made alterations to that plan now based upon a funding source that DOT has identified to assist us with paving that. And made some modifications to the design. It required some environmental assessment to be done. They completed the environmental assessment work in October of this year. They are looking to incorporate the paving of that project in conjunction with the Spur Highway Phase 2 project. And we're hoping that potentially the contractor may be able to complete the paving on Wildwood Drive next summer. Certainly a little ways from all of that happening. We're still working through it. We're just trying to, here at the city, remove any of the hurdles that we can. One of the significant hurdles in this case is we can't do anything, and DOT especially is not willing to do anything until we secure the right-of-way of the roadway. So this resolution will authorize us to issue or execute a quitclaim deed with Kenai Native Association at a cost of $200,000 to acquire all rights of that right-of-way. It's not just the right-of-way under Wildwood Drive, but it also is right-of-way that continues on Cook Inlet Drive, which is straight across the highway all the way to the bluff, because the same situation exists there. That is, K&A was deeded that property in their land entitlements. We don't believe obtaining a appraisal on that serves a purpose. We do have an appraisal that was done, I believe, back in 2011 or 2012, and it estimated the value at that time at $395,000. So this is significantly below what that appraisal was, and that was 13, 14 years ago now. So what this resolution will do, again, is allow us, without getting an appraisal, to be able to execute that quitclaim deed with KNA and secure that right-of-way. That right-of-way is critical if this project's going to happen next year. If for some reason this doesn't work with DOT, having the right-of-way secured will allow us to do the work at any point in the future. It's a critical step, I think, for us to get that right-of-way secured. So that's what this resolution is authorizing. The funds have already been appropriated as part of the project. We have the $200,000 in a project fund for Wildwood Drive. That's where the funding source is. So with that, I'm happy to answer any questions.
Any questions of the city manager? Councilmember Grimmy?
If we were to fix Wildwood Drive ourselves, guesstimate ballpark, what that would be.
Okay.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Councilmember Grimmy. Great question. I want to say, so I'm a little hesitant here in this. The original design we had, which was more extensive, more of a total reconstruction, I believe engineers' estimates $1.1 million range. So I expect what is being proposed now, which is just a mill and repave. So it's to mill up the existing asphalt, establish more of a base, do a little bit of ditching, and then repave. I don't know what the value of that is, but I'm guessing $600,000-$700,000, and that's a totally uneducated, non-engineer guess.
my cursory Google the other day came up with about the same number. So to make sure I understand, essentially, is we would be buying the rights for $200,000 in exchange for the state doing $600-ish thousand for us. So we would be $400,000 ahead.
Yeah, thank you, Councilmember Green. I think that's fair. To be completely transparent, I don't know what the state is expecting totally at this point. We honestly haven't got down to talking full numbers, so I don't know if the state may be looking for the city to help with the federal cost share for the federal highway funds they plan to use, or if they plan to just do the whole thing. So a little bit of that I think is still up in the air, but just the state working with us right now and collaborating with us, I think is a really positive sign. And like I said, this right-of-way needs to be secured to allow any work to occur there without conflict.
But to clarify, if I could, even if there's cost sharing involved, the likelihood that it would exceed that $600,000 number or whatever the real number turns out to be is not likely. Essentially what I'm getting at is $200,000 to do it this way is probably the most cost-effective method for the city to still get us what we need on Wildwood Drive.
City Manager Eubank?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor, Councilmember Green. Yes, certainly at this time, this $200,000 is going to have to be spent no matter which way we pave this project.
Any further questions of the city manager? Councilmember Petty?
Thank you, Mayor. City Manager, how confident are we that the other side that we're negotiating will accept our offer?
City Manager Eubank?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Councilmember Petty. I'm very confident. We've, been working with KNA representation. The quitclaim deed was presented to them. Even, I believe, even before we went to Juneau, the Mayor Gabriel and I went to Juneau last spring, and we had a tentative agreement. We confirmed that agreement again before this legislation was brought for you. So I'm very confident that that they're willing to accept, and we have an agreement.
Thank you, sir.
Any further questions? Mr. Daniel?
Thank you, Mayor Naxid. No, I'm definitely in support of this. This has been a long-standing project that we've been trying to get done for a long time. And to spend this to get this right-of-way resolved is very important. So I want to thank the staff for working on this and moving this forward.
Any further comments? Councilmember Petty?
With this being a resolution, could I request unanimous consent?
Yep, I think it was already, but thank you. But before we move on, I'm concurrence with it too. It just makes absolute sense, and it's, monetarily, and it's likely that the state would pay for it, I think, but we'll wait. The one request I have, and it's just kind of getting in the weeds and beyond really what we're talking about here, is a good exhibit to go with the quitclaim deed. I mean, the meets and bounds, the description talks about a manhole structure and other things like that. And without a drawing that shows all of those things, they're just words for me. And is that something that the administration is going to provide along with the quitclaim deed when it gets recorded? So follow? That might be a legal question.
Well, Mr. Mayor, the planner in the back has been nodding his head, so I believe he's going to be creating that document that we definitely can. And we did provide lay down a map that kind of shows it as well, but.
Yeah, the map does, but from what I gathered from reading the description, it goes all the way down to the beach, where the drawing, and I appreciate the drawing that we have here, because I think that's good for the public to see, but there's further detail and whatnot, but it really needs to follow what the description is. And so it sounds like that's being done, so that's great. Any further discussion? Unanimous consent was requested. Are there any objections? Seeing none, Resolution 2025-67 is approved. So that brings us to item E2, Resolution 2025-68, adopting an alternative allocation method for the fiscal year 2026 Share Fisheries Business Tax Program and certifying that this allocation method fairly represents the distribution of significant effects of fisheries businesses activity in Fisheries Management Area 14, Cook Inlet area, brought to us by administration. Councilmember Sonart.
I move to adopt resolution number 2025-68.
Second.
Okay, moved and seconded. Is there anybody from the general public that would like to speak to Resolution 2025-68? Seeing no one, brings it back to council for discussion. Councilmember Cremy? I think you touched and nothing happened.
No, I was waiting as I saw.
Okay.
Saw Mr. Daniel going for it. I understand that the work on this for this year's already been done. And looking at past years, the amounts have been consistently declining. I think this was just under $400 this year. I have no problem supporting this year. I think I would just urge city manager and your staff to consider looking in future years moving forward if the amount of staff time and work involved in participating in this program is worth the payout. If we're getting into 2 and 3 low digit numbers, it might not be worth paying staff, whatever it is we're paying staff to process these amounts moving forward. Just, I guess, food for thought that I wanted to put out there.
Any further discussion? Was unanimous consent requested? It was
I
not.
will request it.
Thank you very much. Unanimous consent was requested. Is there any objections? Seeing none, Resolution 2025-68 is adopted. Next, we have item E3, Resolution number 2025-69, authorizing a contract award for the City of Kenai Architectural Services Project brought to us by administration. Pleasure of council. Councilmember Sonart.
I move to adopt resolution number 2025-69.
I'll second, unanimous.
Okay, thank you. Is there anybody from the general public that would like to speak to resolution number 2025-69? Seeing no one, brings us back to council. Council discussion. City Manager Eubank, you want to explain this to us?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor, council members. I'm going to do a little brief, and then I'm going to turn it over to our Public Works Director and definitely give you more detail. But essentially, the Public Works Department elected to put out to bid a number for architectural services for a number of different projects that we have coming up that require architectural services. I think it was a great idea to get some economy of scales for architectural services and apply it to a number of projects. So I'm really appreciative of the work they did to move this type of award forward, and I'll turn it over to our Public Works Director, Mr. Fry, and he can give you a little bit more detail about the projects involved.
Thank you. So yeah, as Terry said, we have several projects included in here that we grouped together for architectural services taking place at several buildings. The first is the Senior Center. We have some projects appropriated for doing the front entry modifications there and re-roofing the canopy that people drive through when they're dropping people off. We have some leaks in that roof that we're looking to get repaired. At the Vintage Point next door, we are doing kitchen and bathroom renovations in multiple units, as well as elevator renovations. That's basically our heaviest used elevator in City of Kenai, that City of Kenai owns. So looking to make some upgrades to that so it continues to work well, as well as making all those modifications to various, it's all the original kitchens and bathrooms that were in the facility when it was constructed. So looking at just doing some updates to all those facilities and making them more user-friendly for the residents at that facility. At Animal Control, it's in need of a re-roof. And then the last architectural projects we're looking at are related to City Hall here. Our rooftop unit is in need of some replacement, as well as just kind of a general review of the building and how all the air circulation works with modifications that have been made over the years. We're also looking at the exterior of the building, doors and windows, and looking at the front entry elevator here as well to increase ADA access. So if you have any questions, let me know.
Councilmember Daniel.
Thank you, Mayor Naxted. Not so much specific on the project, but a question regarding the economy of scale. Did this work well doing it this way, submitting them all out there in one batch?
I think so. Part of the concern was some of these smaller projects, getting an architect to be involved, getting competition for something small like this. We only have a few architects down here on the peninsula versus, a lot more of them are located in Anchorage. We did only get 2 proposals. But we did have more interest in the project. We had several people come down for the pre-bid conference we had. So I think it worked. And the important thing is, I think that we have a consultant on board to work on all these projects at one time. And I'll also add that 2 of the re-roofing projects, we put a shorter time frame on so that we can get those out to bid to re-roof those buildings this summer or coming summer.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, unanimous consent was requested, or are there any objections? Seeing none, that means Resolution 2025-69 is adopted. So we have no unfinished business. And new business, that brings us to item H8, discussion, scheduling a joint work session with the Kenaitze Indian Tribe. And let me get down to that quick. This is just a general discussion item. I was going to suggest that we do not pick the first date. There's 3 dates on there that are suggested. And that's a council meeting night, and it's at 5 o'clock. And it's going to be not in these chambers. It's going to be probably in Old Town Kenai. So there would not be time to do that, come back. And then also the next discussion item, we have a work session that we're going to be discussing that's going to be the same evening, just before that. So, kind of looking for which date, January 28th or 29th, is going to work the best for this council. Or does it matter? I see some shrugging of shoulders and things like that.
Currently doesn't matter at all to me.
Councilmember Petty.
Oh, I was just going to suggest the 28th for continuity of Wednesday nights.
Okay, we've got a suggestion of the 28th. Is there any objections to that? I'm not seeing any. Oh, thank you. I'm glad you're still there. Sorry about that. Okay, I guess we're going to select the 28th. So that brings us to item H9, discussion, action, scheduling of budget goals and capital improvement work plan session from administration.
Yeah.
And that, let's see, what day did you, January 7th at 4 o'clock. Is that still a good time, City Manager Eubank? Is that going to work for everybody? Councilmember Petty?
I will be out of town that evening. And I wanted a clarification on the 28th. Is that the work session? Will that be at 5 o'clock as well?
It'll be at 5 o'clock.
Thank you.
Will you repeat the date in question for this one, please?
Oh, the date and time is the January 7th. That's our council meeting date at 4 o'clock.
I too will be out of town that week. I don't know if I'll be able to attend remotely yet or not.
Councilmember Petty, might you be able to?
No, I would not be available for remote.
Well, what is the city manager, Eubank, what's the timing on this? If we have a couple of council members that aren't here.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Lee, do you know, were you guys able to determine the CAPSIS deadline? My biggest concern is that, especially from the capital plan, the schedule we were trying to work was have the work session on the 7th, bring the capital plan and budget goals before council to approve by resolution on the 21st. I think the budget goals we can work with. That's not such a time crunch. The timelines that are pushing us regarding the capital plan is it establishes our state and federal priorities for requesting funding through CAPSIS, which is the state system, or the CDS program, congressionally directed spending. So we're targeting both of those. And I want to say CAPSIS last year was maybe early February. So I think, anyways, do you have?
It was February 17th last year. I don't have a date for this one yet. I just have they've reached out to set up the contacts and access into the system, but I don't have a deadline yet.
Well, it is a work session, and we're not going to be making a decision on that night, just hearing the information. And that mostly is going to be printed material anyway, isn't it, Ms. Eubank? So I would suggest, since there's two that won't be here, if you'll have that document, you can give some input to administration, and then you'll have the bite at the apple with everybody else when it comes back to the council. Does that work? Okay. So.
Say I would be available if anybody wants to meet privately or come by the office and talk about the plan as well. We could do that.
Thank you very much for that.
So to
So,
confirm, that's 1/7 at 4?
sure,
That's 1/7 at 4?
at 4, yes. That brings us to commission comments, reports. Let's see, Council on Aging, Councilmember Askin.
Thank you, Mayor Nixted. We haven't had a meeting. Our next one is December 11th.
Thank you. Airport Commission, Councilmember Sonart.
Thank you, Mayor Nexted. So Airport Commission met back on November 13th, and they approved bringing to council, actually number 2 and number 3 in your new business section in our packet, for the special use permit for the American Red Cross for the office space, and then number 3, the special use permit for Echo Lake Meats to have a vending machine there in the airport. So that was their business that night, and of course, it made it to our packet tonight. Their next meeting, I just was informed, is canceled due to lack of agenda items. So no meeting this month.
Okay, thank you. Now we have Harbor Commission. Who has that one? Cassina. Okay, you guys.
I have nothing new to update at this time, unless Councilmember Cassina has something. But Ms. Sainer does. I apologize.
They will be meeting in a special meeting on Monday.
I was wondering about that. Okay, there you go.
Okay, I didn't know that hadn't happened already, so. All right, Parks and Recreation, Councilmember Grimmy.
There has not been another meeting. There was a meeting scheduled for tomorrow that has been canceled, so next meeting will be in January.
And next we have planning and zoning.
Thank you. No Planning and Zoning Commission since we last met. They have a work session to review and make recommendations to update Kenai Municipal Code 1410 subdivision regulations on December 10th at 6. And then their regular meeting is scheduled afterwards at 7.
Yes, thank you, Mayor Nexted. I have no report. However, our next meeting is scheduled for January the 14th. Regrettably, I will be out of town for that and would like to see if one of my council members would like to help me out there.
What's the date?
January the 14th. That would be on a Tuesday.
So Wednesday.
The 14th? Oh, I beg your pardon. I don't have the current, I don't know when the next meeting is. Sometimes in January. I don't have the new calendar. I beg your
Clerk's
pardon.
looking.
Actually, the clerk
You
is.
got it on your phone.
No, I don't.
Thank you for sharing it with me.
I honestly don't remember. Are they the first Tuesday or the second Tuesday?
I got
They're the
12.
second, so it's going to be January 13th.
I will be out of town on January the 13th and would like to solicit one of my council members to help me out if they would be so kind.
Is there anyone here that can?
I can do
Councilmember
it.
Remy?
I can cover it for you.
Thank you for doing that.
If you just make sure I have the information.
Surely.
Okay.
Okay, that brings us down to report of the mayor. Fairly short tonight. Oh, I would like to congratulate our Chief Ross for his award that he definitely, deserved with all of the work that he's done. And there's something Chief Ross, you alluded to, you said, well, you have all these people that make you look good essentially behind you and all that. And I think that it really, that's true, but they also perform what they do and they support you because of who you are and how you lead. And that's very apparent. So we're very happy to have you here. Thank you and congratulations on that once again. And it was fun tonight doing the two mayoral proclamations. And thank you, Councilmember Grammy, for helping along with the Kenai Central High School band one. That was a lot of fun. There was more from the band than there were from the team. I was a little surprised at that. So that is all I have for the Bailey report. Next week, I'll be at AML for almost the entire week. So, so that brings us to administrative reports. City Manager Eubank.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, council members. A couple things to report on. I'll start with staffing and recruitment. Definitely excited to welcome Ian Brahman as our new Chief Animal Control Officer. Ian will be moving to Kenai, expected to start on January 19th. He's coming from Jackson, California. So other active recruitments, we are currently recruiting for a vacancy in the police department, so a police officer. And I will be reopening the airport manager recruitment. That position has now been vacant since August 22nd. And have elected to retain a public sector recruiting firm to assist in that recruitment. And hopefully we'll get some good candidates and be able to find an applicant this round. I did meet with our Parks and Rec Director, with Bill Coghill from the Kenai Golf Course. He did request an extension. I think currently in the lease with the golf course, they are required to give us their annual report by November 31st, which I'm still looking for that day. But he did request a bit of an extension, so I think he's still working on that annual report. But they did have a very successful season, I do believe, and they did a number of improvements out on the course, and they have many more planned. So I think things are going well with that new group. On the subject of pools, we did have we did have a meeting with some school district officials back on November 10th to discuss the pools. I know the school district is supposed to be compiling some information for us on, how it may look if the city wanted to participate, how we could participate, and things like that. So still waiting on information from them. I was really happy last week. We had the director from AvTech come over too. I joked with him a little bit, but I was also being very serious that I wanted to ask him how the commute was to the western campus of AvTech. So really like to see that organization move a campus over here. We toured a couple of city facilities we thought could be very good fits for them. One being the fire training center, and then we also did walk through the Challenger Center with them just to show them what's there. And I think we piqued his interest when it came, especially at the fire training center and how that is configured and things like that. And I think he also recognizes a little bit bigger population base over here. You may have more access to staff, actually teaching staff, and additional students. So certainly isn't going to displace AvTech out of Seward. I think that's always going to be there, and it should be. But I think there's plenty of opportunity, especially with some of the projects on the horizon for that to come over to this side of the peninsula. And I'd love to see the city of Kenai to be a part of that. This week, a couple days ago, we had a lunch meeting hosted by CAPED. I want to thank the staff there at CAPED for putting that together for us. It was with all the city managers from around the peninsula, so all from the incorporated cities, and Mayor Machicki joined us. We really just had a discussion about, the various projects and things that are going on in the communities, and ways that we can continue to look to collaborate, not only between the cities, but between the borough and the cities, and problems we're having or barriers we're seeing, and how we can work together to bring those down. So I think those are really productive conversations, and I appreciate, again, CAPED staff there for putting that on for us. I want to thank the Chamber for Christmas Come to Kenai festivities there last Friday. It's something I think the whole Central Peninsula really looks forward to. I paid my debt. I stood in line for an hour for my granddaughter to be able to see Santa, which was a treat, and then always enjoy the fireworks. So really want to say thank you to Samantha and the staff over there at the Chamber. Like the mayor said, next week I will be in Anchorage for AML and the municipal managers meeting. Hope to see a lot of you up there. And then, again, thanks, Chief. Very well deserved. Certainly is a pleasure working with you. Known you a long time, and very well deserved. So thank you. And I'm happy to answer any questions.
Okay, any questions for the city manager? Okay. Seeing none. But by the way, thank you for all your work on the road project out there to the prison. I think that there's a whole lot of moving parts involved in that, and I appreciate the effort that you put into it. So that brings us to the city attorney, Bloom.
Thank you, Mayor Nackstead, members of council. I don't have anything to report, but I'm happy to answer any questions.
Okay, we have a question for you, Councilmember Cassina.
Mr. Bloom, will you be attending an attorney's conference here in the next few weeks?
Yes, thank you. I will be up in Anchorage on Monday and coming back Tuesday. Appreciate it.
Excellent, thank you.
Okay, that brings us to the city clerk, Sander.
Thank you, Mayor Nakstad. The city clerk and deputy clerk will be attending the AAMC conference in Anchorage and will be in Anchorage Monday and Tuesday. I will be returning on Wednesday.
Any quick questions of the clerk? Okay, seeing none, that brings us down to additional public comments. Are there any members of the public who would like to discuss anything with the council at this time? Looks like we have one or two. Nobody? Okay, so that brings us down to council comments. We'll start with Student Rep Bowling.
Wonderful, yeah.
Yeah, it's all yours.
Good evening, everybody. I wasn't expecting that. Our leadership class just hosted our annual canned food drive. All of our non-perishable food's been donated to the food bank in Soldotna. And Kenai Central, along with some other schools facing chronic absenteeism around the state, has begun an initiative called Strive for Five. Strive for Five is a statewide, attendance initiative that encourages students to be in school all 5 days of the week. It's focused on building consistent habits, improving engagement, and helping schools address attendance challenges. For KCHS, it's a reminder of the importance of showing up every day. And to help with that, prize drawings will be held for students to win prizes like AirPods, Apple Watches, speakers, and more. Chronic absenteeism from Alaskan schools means missing 10% or more of the school year, which is 18 days. KCHS in particular has an average attendance rate of 89%, meaning that on average, 11% of students are absent from one day to another. We hope to get that up. Thank you for your support of Kenai students. Merry Christmas and have a good night.
Okay, thank you for your report. By the way, we're going to kind of bounce this around, kind of have a little thing here. So the next one is Councilmember Daniel.
Oh, man, I can't just say.
Go for it, it's me, I pressed the wrong,
Man, I can't just say what he said. Oh, well. I'll keep it brief, though. Chief Ross, congratulations. I know it's not just you, it's your entire staff. I really appreciate the work and dedication that you all do over there to the city. Also, it was very fun seeing the band and the varsity volleyball team here. Kenai Central, I mean, we're knocking it out of the park. It's really awesome seeing all these wonderful young people going, great places, it looks like. It's very exciting, so. And then one other thing I wanted to say is thank you to the city staff. I know, as like Mayor Nakstad said, that there's a lot of work to get to that point with getting that right away dealt with so we can get that road repaved. I'm really looking forward to that project being completed. And that's all I got.
Okay, Councilmember Sonart.
Thank you, Mayor Nakstad. Congratulations, Chief Ross. We are very proud of you, and we're proud of your staff. I also want to say congratulations to volleyball coach Tracy Beck and band director Christian Stefanos for their successes. And just that I love the light parade. It's an annual event with our families and fireworks, and it's just a whole evening. And there was a lot of people there because I know we probably waited 25 minutes to get out of our firework viewing area to turn left, at least 25 minutes. So that was a good problem. Lots of people.
Okay. Vice Mayor Askin.
Thank you, Mayor Nakstad. We have some pretty phenomenal citizens. Chief Ross, the Kenai Police Department, I think, has always had the best reputation of all the police departments on the peninsula, and this award certainly is well-deserved, and thank you for your service to us. Also, congratulations also to the volleyball team and the band and their instructors and coaches. City staff, thank you for your work on the Wildwood Drive. I attended the Alternative School Thanksgiving luncheon, and I'm currently in Dodge City, Kansas, and have been to New Mexico, Montana, Nebraska, North and South Dakota, and I had ice and snow in every state. So Merry Christmas to everyone, and thank you.
I think it's nicer here. So
It probably is.
Councilmember Grimmy.
Thank you. I hope everyone had a good Thanksgiving. I went to the Parade of Lights because parades are one of my most favorite things in the whole world, and I was really excited to see it was a little bit longer this year than the year before and the year before that, so makes it worth standing out there every year a little bit more. Found lots of treasures at the Kenai Art Center Craft Show at KCHS the day after Thanksgiving. And Dave, I want to tell you again, congratulations. I am fortunate to have known you personally and professionally, I think for most of your career at Kenai PD. You and your wife were one of the first people we ever left our first child with after he was born. I think he was only a few weeks old and attended a Kenai Central High School volleyball game with your family. I think one of your girls was playing. When we moved to Kenai, and I'm sorry, Alaska State Troopers, and to my son over there at Slotna PD, but when we moved to the peninsula, we chose Kenai because my husband had a lot of faith in Kenai Police Department. And so my husband felt that we would be safer and better protected in Kenai, and he's right. You guys are your stand-up department proactively, and you put community first, and it shows. And congratulations, and thank you. Thank you to you and all the men and women that work under you for what you're doing for our community every day.
Wow, that was great. I agree. Thank you. Councilmember Casena.
Well, thank you. I think I'd have to echo that comment. 95% of the tickets I've ever received were only in the city of Kenai. So tough on crime. So thank you. It's good to get to know your local law enforcement officers. I think in general, it's just maybe an incredibly great day to be a resident of the city of Kenai. To see all the celebrations of our students, of our staff, it's pretty amazing. So it's fun to be able to see that, especially all in one meeting and have the entire room filled. So I'm also pretty excited to hear about the new opportunities for vocational education in the city, especially looking at underutilized or non-utilized structures and filling those with new businesses. And along that line, I did meet with a very local and vocal member of our public last week and listen to their feedback about how we can improve. I had a brief discussion with Terry, and I think it's always good to get that feedback from folks if they're willing to share it. So it's interesting, if nothing else. That's it for me.
Thank you. Councilmember Petty.
Thank you, Mayor Nexted. The city of Kenai is a great place to be, and tonight was just one fine example of that, with the awards and recognition for the marching band of Kenai and the champions of the volleyball girls. And then, of course, Captain Ross, we thank you for your contributions and your leadership that has created leadership in your team. Also, I wanted to say thank you for the great generosity of our community. Hillcorp provided the lovely Thanksgiving luncheon for the seniors, and there was a huge turnout for that, and I do want to personally thank Hillcorp for that. And also, I want to say thank you for the generosity of our high school students who gave generously for the food bank, and that's just a prime example of the characters, the worthy characters that we have here in our community that makes this a great place to be. Kenai is a great place to be, and I'm thankful to hear that AvTech is interested in coming over here. And so thank you so very much for the staff helping, and I'm thankful to hear that Wildwood, we're finally finding a solution. So thank you for that, and bid y'all good night.
Okay, thank you for your report. We have no executive session, no pending items. That brings us to adjournment with no other business. This body is adjourned.